And who were the Ramchargers for some of you that don't know?
I joined the RAMCHARGERS right out of college in 1961. 2 weeks after graduation, I was working on Herman Moser's E-Gas with a little 241 Dodge Hemi, and the next night I was Dodge 61 Superstock. And the RAMCHARGERS then was a loose Confederate.
You have to pull on
You
it.
got me? The RAMCHARGERS then was a loose confederation of guys that were interested in cars. And at the time, being interested in cars and racing was a bad thing because the management thought we were all crazy. So it was pretty much a clandestine kind of a thing. But we convinced Frank Wiley, the public relations manager at Dodge, to give us a car and an engine. So that's how the RAMCHARGERS got into Superstock in 1961.
Tell us about 64.
Okay. Yeah, we did Superstocks in 61, 2, 3, and we had a 64 Superstock car that has just recently been found and is in the process of being restored. And we also had an AFX 64 car, which we moved the wheels a little bit, 4 inches forward. But that car didn't look funny at all. But at 65, we went crazy, moved the front wheels as far as you could go without hitting the bumper, and the rear wheels went as far forward as you could go and still open the door. And that was the very first ever funny car. When NHRA saw it, they said, that thing will never run on any of our tracks. Well, we did. And so then racing got to be really fun because there was no rules. You brought the best car you knew how to make, and you raced other guys that had the best cars that they knew how to make. And in 67, we put the blower on the fuel-injected car. And at the end of the season, I went 195 at Green Bay, and we had the field covered by 15 miles an hour on 50%, a lot of blower, a lot of compression for the day. And Green Bay was a perfect track. It was wide, it was smooth, it was well lit, and it was turning 7,600 in the eyes. So we had fun. We set a lot of records, and I can't tell you what they are. A lot of times we just set the track record at wherever we ran, but we never kept track of that stuff. I know we set the track record at Manassas, Virginia, 8th mile track, and we went there on the way to another race on the East Coast on a Friday night. It was dark when we got there, and make 3 passes, that's fine. Well, the lights were stopped at the finish line, and the pavement stopped. There was a 60-watt bulb hanging from the tree. It was like going into the clothes closet and slamming the door. So for the next 2 runs, we had lots of cars down there with their lights on.
One more, we want to know about the famous picture where the back wheels are off the ground.
That was in Richmond, Virginia, late in 67. We were racing Dyno Don, and we did our burnouts, and I got staged, and Dyno Don was screwing around at the starting line, and the tire patch underneath the tires got cold. So when it was time to go, I hit the throttle, everything started spinning, and then it moved forward just a couple inches and got a hold of good rosin asphalt, and up it went. And you'll see pictures of it with all 4 wheels off the ground. And you think, well, gee, if it's crooked, we're going to wreck it in the ditch. And if it's straight, it's going to break in half coming down. So I turned the power on as it started to come down, and the car was fine. And we made a couple more runs that day.
more questions? Any more questions that anybody wants to ask him? The what now?
The scariest race you've ever been in.
Yeah, scariest race.
Scariest race, 65 Detroit Dragway. The very first time we put nitro in the car. And back then we were running like 2 to 4 PSI in the tires to make the tire patch longer and get better traction. And for some reason the car turned left right at the starting line, and with the flat tires there's no side bite. So it just slid and slid and slid, and it rolled over into the ditch on the left side, and it was upside down, and there was a lot of water in the ditch, and my head was in the water, and the engine was still running, so I shut that off and knocked out the window and rolled out into the water. Tom Hoover said, well, the engine was full of pollywogs when he took it apart after that.
Hey, tell them about the time you about took your foot off, Mike, with the transmission blowed up.
My very last run was US 30 Dragway in Gary, Indiana. We had an injected engine because the week before, after I won 195, the blown motor, and hold on to your seats, had 69 runs on it when the rod went out for fresh air. So we put in an injected motor because that's all we had parts for. And Roger Lindemood always built our transmissions. And he was off somewhere racing, and his Danny Mancini's nephew, Ronnie Mancini, had built the transmission. So we did an all-nighter putting it in the car, and somebody said, you want to put the blanket on the transmission? Well, you know, the blanket was soaked in transmission fluid and kitty litter. It was a nasty, nasty thing. At 5 o'clock in the morning, to hell with it. So we called in the guys that hadn't done the all-nighter to drive the truck and me down to Gary. And on the second burnout, the overrunning clutch failed, which was pressed into the case. And when that happens, the front clutch retainer goes 2.5 times engine speed. It burst and filled the car with aluminum and magnesium, all sorts of nasty stuff. So I was on crutches, and that was the end of my racing career.
Oh, I wanted to mention too, guys, we're glad to have the Little Red Express truck out there, 400-point show car truck, and beautiful. We're glad to have him. And next year we'll have some more information and have more time with Mike. I wish we could have got to spend a little bit more time, and we'll have some more pictures of his stuff next year too. So something to look forward. And yeah, we've got some of those pictures back there if you'd like to see them. All right.
It's been a pleasure.